Go live. We are live. I want to welcome everybody to the first episode of Everybody Has a Story to Tell. Our guest is Jeremy Cadle. Hi, Jeremy.
Hello. Hey.
And Jeremy, why don't you go ahead and tell everybody a little bit about yourself? Where are you from? What do you...
So I live in Baltimore, Maryland. I make films, working on an album. I'm also somewhat of a kind of a musician. I'm working on a little bit of an album right now, a cinematic scores album for a project that isn't going to come out actually on video. It's going to be told through not music, but it's just going to be told like I write the script and it'll come up in like kind of like there's crappy lyric videos you see on YouTube, but more or less the story in text form with voice narration and music. That's currently what I'm working on right now.
Oh, that's pretty cool. That's cool. I'm ready to see about that. The first thing I kind of to talk about, well, you skipped a little bit ahead, but I want to go back a little bit and
Okay.
talk about how we met.
Okay.
When I believe the first project we did together was Woods.
Yes, Woods in 2022. That was season two. I had gotten the idea to go back and do a second season after. So a little bit about Woods. It had started as a horror drama web series for only to be last for one season, 12 episodes, one season. Well, then right the first weekend we had gotten everybody cast. COVID hit the states really, really bad, and the world shut down. And at that point, I said, "Well, I can't film with people." So Memorial Day weekend, we were supposed to release the first trailer, the cast listing, and within the trailer, and unfortunately, all I had was random woods, like random footage shot in the woods. It was never meant to be taking place in the woods. It was just called that because I'm like, it's so generic, but could be interesting at the same time. So 12 episodes turned into 6 episodes for the first season as a found footage film. Had the cast that I had left finish the people that were interested in still making it that could film from home in 2020 did it, and those that couldn't do it, I didn't hold it against them. But by the time any of them really wanted to do Woods, I had already released a version of season one, so throughout 2020, and I just kind of left it at that. And after that, I just kind of was like, I want to do a second season, so I hit up everybody, and they all said, "No, we wanted to do it then. We don't want to do it now." It's fine. So I ended up putting out multiple casting posts on. I believe one of them. I believe one of them was a. I believe one of them was an actors in Pennsylvania, Virginia, Maryland, a random ass board on Facebook, and I was like, "This isn't gonna work. Let me try it." So because it was a brand new board, I had just joined it, so I put it out there. You contacted me. Another actress by the name of Sabrina Umstead contacted me, and one other actress contacted me, but she could not fulfill uh, she could not fulfill at the time something about um, she was going through a huge move, and it was just a big situation. So life happens. So had to
Right.
cut her character entirely, unfortunately. But other than that, you know, Wood season two came and went, and now you still worked with me on a couple other things. So I think it worked out.
Yeah, Woods was a pretty good. I remember when actually I didn't never know that Woods was not supposed to be like filmed in the woods.
Oh yeah, so yeah, season one. There was multiple occasions in season one that I had locked down, but due to the pandemic and everything, I couldn't keep those locations secured. One being the bowling alley I worked with at the time was really cool. Like, hey, you can come in after hours. Just make sure you don't stay. Make sure you just stay out of plain sight because people are going
Right.
to be wondering why people are still in the building and all that. So that was unfortunately a location I had lost because we were closed. And then again, also working with people in the public, you know,
Yeah.
not exactly not exactly a good thing. It's just like I also didn't feel comfortable working with people in person. I met people that were still working on projects at the time, and I was offered to be a production assistant on a couple films, and I'm like, how are you all making stuff? Like, is there sanitization? Like, what's going on here? And they said, we're playing it by ear. And it's like, if you get COVID, you get COVID. And I'm like,
No, no.
that's not how that works, but okay. Because
Yeah.
mind you, this is pre-vaccine time. This is like literally 3 weeks into lockdown. So how does that work?
That's a definite no, no, no.
Yeah, I was not gonna feel comfortable filming with people. I mean, I would have done it had I would have done it had, everything worked out in the end, but there was people in my life that were immune compromised and I just didn't want to put them at risk and all that, but that's a whole other story.
Right, right. Well, see, after Woods, we did band broadcast too.
There was something
Well, there was
before
a
that.
couple. Yeah, there was a couple in there in between. There was
Yeah,
the Omega Chronicles but I
yeah.
think band broadcast 2 was probably your biggest project for a while, wasn't it?
It was the one that took the longest in terms of like, well, besides Wood season two. Well, actually, besides the entire series of Woods in general, Fan Broadcast 2 was the longest I had actually put into a project because Wood
Right.
season 2 episodes came out, I don't want to say monthly because it only ran from February of 2022 to about May 2022. And then Fan Broadcast 2, which is an hour-long feature film, well, an hour-long film, I put about maybe like that was a lot of work for it because just yeah, it was definitely took the longest to finish in terms of from conception to release because filming multiple things for it and then having additional footage being sent in by you and Bianca and then having to actually film with two physical actors like for it, that being my cousin Megan and Vladimir who played the demon in the short film. Yeah, it definitely took the longest to film and get done. Actually, I only had to wait on the SD card you sent me by the time the film was even close to being done. So,
Oh, so I was a hold up there. I'm sorry.
well, that's the post office though. That's not you. That was just mailing and shipping. But I it was about 60 hours of editing total.
Wow.
Cause I locked in the premiere at Zen West in the end of June. Filming had not even started yet. I had not even started really working on it. I had concept down, and I said, "Look, Fan Broadcast 2 could be the biggest film that this year." And I said, "No, it's not going to be." Well, when I got the premiere locked down, I then had to start working on the film. I think I might have I took a week and a half off of work to finish it, and I finished it, and then I had to go back and re-edit it with the glitch effects and music and other sound and all that stuff. So I would say total probably about 35 to 40 hours of actual legit editing, and then about 15 to 20 hours with effects and sound.
which kind of brings me into the big thing that me and you talked about wanting to talk to on the interview is the music.
Mm, yes. The
And
soundtrack.
yeah, you used your Lunar Eclipse records, correct? With band
Uh,
broadcast?
so yeah, okay, I guess I could go into a little bit about this. So back in 2018, I actually launched Lunar Eclipse Records as a independent uh record label, record label in
Hmm.
quotation marks, where I was like, look, if I even get anybody on this label to release music, everyone's gonna get 100% of the profits, because my thing is, I don't they can buy the music and then everyone could just keep it, because at that point I'm just distributing it and they can keep the revenue from whatever's earned. So like if I released a song called, I don't know, um actual original song, and it was called Lake on the Water or whatever, and say that
Right.
artist decided to put that out through Lunar Eclipse Records, and I put this purchase to name your price, and someone actually wanted to buy it for $1. Um, Bandcamp will take out a percentage, but I make sure they'd get the whole dollar. I wouldn't just keep that away from them, so I would give them the
Mm.
whole dollar. But that never worked in that way. Never worked out that way. But yeah, there was multiple different things with that, but everything worked out in the end with it, and I actually ended up losing a battle to keep using Lunar Eclipse Records to distribute the music, and I finally put it out recently on Lunar Eclipse, because I got it back, and now I'm gonna start releasing more stuff on it. And the band Broadcast 2 soundtrack was done the um was done right when the movie was done, so that was kind of cool. But originally I wanted to put it out on CD, and that's done for now. I'm not gonna do that because it's just gonna cost more money than just uploading it for free and letting people listen to it on Bandcamp. And you can stream it, you can download it, it is free. It's really
Right.
cool.
Right. So that kind of like when you did the records and how you have your love for music, is that what how you chose which bands to use in band broadcast too?
Honestly, honestly, my friends Waters Deep put out this amazing EP this year. Sorry, my Coca-Cola. Um, Amazing EP back in July called Fading Lights. And they have an acoustic song on there called Roses. And it is an emotional song. They also have a song called Let It Burn, but that's also an acoustic track that they released too, in memory of their bassist Claire, who had passed away last year, back in 2022. And her backing vocals are actually still, like, you can hear her as a backing vocalist on Let It Burn acoustic. And I had reached out to Gabe, who is Dinger, who started Waters Deep, and I asked him if I could use their music. I actually ended up using Let It Burn and Demon Returns, and later the acoustic version as well in a later film. And when I got to the release of Band Broadcast 2, I had contacted him to see if it was okay to use any of the music, and he told me go ahead. And sure enough, Waters Deep is 80% of the soundtrack. My friends You Over Me allowed me to use their cover of Anomaly for
Which I
the
love,
film. What
by
is
the
it?
way. Which
Huh?
I love that song, by the way.
Oh, Anomaly. Yeah, it's such a good song.
Yeah.
It's And then in October of 2022, I took a gander. I had just met Alexia Rodriguez from I Set the Kill, when she played here in Baltimore as I Set the Kill in July of 2022. In October, she did a live stream on Twitch, and I had asked her if she would be interested in, like, doing a cover of a song, and she just said, "Sure," and she recorded it. She sent me a studio video of it, and, it's in the film, so that's pretty cool. So getting and I think that's really neat because a lot of people didn't know that was her no, and I was like, "I just messaged that easy,
Yeah,
and it
just ask
worked."
people for help.
But I honestly would not be surprised if she said no. Like, the worst you're gonna get is no, like, and even that I would say is okay to hear because I didn't really expect it. I was telling people, like, "Yeah, I messaged her," and, like, "Did you get a response? Are you gonna get a response?" Said, "I think so. Maybe." I don't know. Anything could happen, and then sure enough, within, like, a day, I got a message in asking me, um what did I want it to sound like? When did I need it by? I said and she did it like kinda like emo it's an emo song, and she did it as ASMR kinda, so you can barely tell, and I love it, and I'll just use it because it's haunting, and I'll just use it, and I can refilter it if I want to, but it was probably the hardest song to refilter to use 'cause I didn't know how I wanted to refilter it because I still wanted people to hear the lyrics, and you can sometimes. It depends on where the film takes where certain parts when you hear it, you can't really hear it,
Right.
but
So
I think it turned out
so that
well.
leads me into something else I wanted to talk to you about, where you're sitting
Mm.
there talking about how you met Alexia from I Set to Kill.
Yes.
That goes into your Maryland musical live tributes. You
Yes.
have met so many artists just from me and you talking. It blows my mind. It really
Yes.
does. And
So
what made you want to like start getting involved with them and like promoting their music and stuff?
so, that's actually a really funny story. It takes us all the way back to 2017. In 2017, there's a venue out here called Baltimore Soundstage, and
Mhm.
they put out a flyer for this thing called the Emo Show, and it had a tribute band for My Chemical Romance, a tribute band called Our Bulletproof Day, which is they're basically like a super group of multiple different band members of bands from around in Baltimore area, and then there was two bands from PA, one being Heart for Hire and one who's no longer a band, or they're just on a very permanent, indefinite hiatus. I haven't talked to any of those members in forever. And then Saving Apollo, who I still do talk to every now and then. And they did Blink 182. So on the Maryland Music Live tribute albums, when you see the tracks from Saving Apollo and Heart for Hire, those are audio recordings that I was able to grab from 2017 when I first saw them. And then I eventually met, there's a guy from the band Our Bulletproof Day. Um, he was the drummer for them. I'm blanking on names right now, but he was in a band called Others May Fall. I do know that because I still talk to some of them. They have a new band called Reverend Lowdown, and their name, Weather and Lowdown, they are definitely not a Christian band, but they are a heavier. They're more of a heavier band than they were heavier punk band than they used to be. So it was really that show that got me involved in the local music, and, ever
Mhm.
since then, I met my buddies in One Life the Lead, who are now Sharia Mar, um, met who because they signed to a record label and they're changed their tune a little bit, they have a different sound. See, I met Great Heights Band or through actually, because of them, I met Great Heights Band, and I've seen them now 12 times.
12 times?
With Yeah, but that's not insane to hear 'cause I've seen Found Glory 17 times, and they're more of a national act. But I
Oh
just
my.
gotten and I met a person and I met a good friend of mine, Nick, who, yeah, sorry, Nick, who runs the company. Rapolo Entertainment out here. I've in 2022, and I started going back out to shows now, and it's all mainly local shows. And last year, I worked with him on some shows that I helped him out on some of his shows. Did a documentary for his summer show, his big summer show in August of 2023. So it's a big it's a big roar out here. Everyone and a lot of people know who I am just because of me going out and supporting everybody. And I
Right.
think that's the biggest thing. Like, cause I'll go to shows, and the funny thing is, someone will come up to me and be like, "Jeremy," and I'm like, "Do I know you? Because if I do, I must have been." And I'm gonna be frank. I used to get like, I mean, I still do get drunk some shows, but I'll get to the point to where I'll talk to you, and then I might not remember you the next time I see you in public.
I
So
mean, I'm pretty sure most people's been that way once in their life, at least.
yeah, so it's really fun. I mean, it's not funny, but I do laugh about. It. I'm like, "Who are you again?" And actually, there would be someone I've never met in my life come up to me and say, "Hey, man, hey, Jeremy, I know who." And it's only because I do promotion through Facebook, Twitter, well, not Twitter, but Insta, just saying all the social
Mhm.
media apps. And I'll tag the bands that are playing, and they'll just say, "Hey, we like what you do." I'm like, "Who are you?" Like, I don't
Yeah,
know you, but I'm
I
down
get
to
that.
talk.
I get that. I've had a few people do that too with me.
Yeah. It's like, "Who are you again?" Like, I'm like, "Who are," and everyone's so loving and welcome. Well, not everyone, but most people are loving and welcoming here, and I love it. It's nice to see people, so.
Right. So, you're the Carol Ming at Maryland Music Live tribute. When can we
Mhm.
expect to see that out?
Volume 1 and 2 are actually out now on Lunar Clips Records.
Okay.
Volume 3, I'm still trying to rework. Again, and that was another thing that failed, that came crashing down with when I didn't have Lunar Clips Records under me. Volume 1 was that was out at the time, and I had and everything was just removed from that. And I'm reworking to get 3 out now, and it's gonna be about, I think it's 12 tracks. Track Album 1 was 17 tracks, album 2 is 10. I do believe album 3 is anywhere between 10 to 12. And it's
Can
only gonna
you
be a trilogy.
give a little hint as to who was featured?
It's for number 3, it's Kings of the Wild Thing, and I believe Dead Like Disco. And I think that's it.
Nice. And you've worked with Kings of the Wild Things before, haven't you?
Um, I've gone to a bunch of their shows. I've never personally worked with them. There's a guy named Ben who's in their band. He's in another band called Go on Red. I worked with them.
Nice. So we are coming up on about 23 minutes, and this is
Okay.
when I wanted to do a blitz round. I have
Okay.
5 questions I want to ask you. I
Okay.
want you to say the first thing that comes to your mind. Don't think about it, just spit it
Okay.
out.
Well, it depends on what it is, but okay.
And then we'll talk about them once we're done.
Okay.
So, first thing, favorite band,
Uh, I have two. Great Heights Band and Newfound Glory.
favorite movie,
Halloween.
favorite food,
Um, Cheesesteak.
favorite place,
Zen West.
dream collaboration.
Oh, dream collab. Like, in what sense?
Just any of your dream collaborations. I had you rolling, and then we got to 5.
That's a lot because there are so many collaborations. Like, if we're talking film wise, uh, anything, I would love to just collaborate with Jason Blum on anything. I don't care if it's gonna be a shitty film or shitty product. I don't, working with him be an honor. Um, anything with, I would love to work with Eli Roth at this point. I love Thanksgiving. That's the only movie I really like by him because Hostel and all that stuff is. Ugh. Um, shit. Music wise, I would love to shoot a music video for a Heartbent or a Great Heights band. Or Go on Red. Actually, I think more realistic than the two I mentioned.
Right, right. Well, those are some pretty good dream collaborations. I mean,
Yeah.
your best thing is to dream big.
Yeah,
And
but I'm
back
almost
to
30 now, and I'm just like, I don't really care at this point. I'll work with anything. Dream collaboration. That's the hardest one. That is that. Yeah, those that. Ooh,
I
you know.
gotcha.
Yeah. Definitely. That's definitely crazy.
So, what about, okay, how I asked what your favorite band was?
Hmm.
Would you like to work with that band as a collaboration?
Well, I mentioned two bands. One is more realistic than the other. I would probably ever, if I ever get to work with any of the bands that I mentioned, like, because Great Heights Band and Newfound Glory are my two favorite bands, right? Like, well,
Mhm.
again, Great Heights, they're from Baltimore, so that's an easier to work with than Newfound Glory, who are based out all over the United States. I think some of them live in Florida. I believe one of them lives in Tennessee, and I believe some of them live in California, so they're spread out all over. I would love to work with them for sure. They're definitely a list to work with. Uh, Great Heights Band for sure. I mean, well, I don't. I can't say I never worked with them. I mean, I interviewed Eric Taff and Neil from the band, so I guess that's close enough.
Yeah, there you go. So,
Yeah,
I knew I would catch you off guard. That's why I wanted to
yeah,
do that blitz round because I'm like, if you just start out with, know what I mean, stuff that people know right off the top of their head, because you knew your favorite place and your favorite food just like that.
yeah. Favorite food changes though. Sometimes it's turkey. Sometimes it's cheese. Most of the time it's cheesesteak. But yeah.
So, pretty well, now we're to the point where do you have any upcoming projects that you would like to let everybody know about?
Um, my music project, Cinema Track. I'm finishing up a experimental album right now. I think I hinted at that at the very beginning of this interview, or is that when we were trying it on Zoom?
No, you hinted at it.
Okay. So that's what I'm working on right now. Cinematic album. It's 25 tracks that I have planned. It's looking like it could be more. It's gonna have videos of it soon. I think I'll tease it once I get most of the music done. Currently, right now, there's 25 tracks I have planned out. I have three done. Uh, One is in the process of getting a video done with the story. So not only is it 25 tracks, but it is 25 individual videos to comprise. I think in an 80-minute video project, and I'm gonna say each story, it's like five stories. So you'll get five videos featuring the same characters. That again, it's script written on the video voiceovers and all that stuff. Most of it's AI voice, but that's only because I don't feel like paying anybody to do anything.
I can tell you this. There's a
Hmm.
website. It's called Casting Call Club.
Okay.
You can put out your project on there, and voiceovers artists will submit for it. And all they expect is credit a lot of times because it's just people trying to break into it.
Okay, I'll look into it. So
That
currently,
might
right
be
now, I have
something.
yeah. I mean, I'm shooting all the photos and I'm buying stock footage because you gotta buy a license for that, or I'm using royalty free video where I'm
Mhm.
not making any money off of it. The only thing that would make money is if I decide to sell the album like online, like, for everyone to buy it.
Mhm.
The idea is to put out the album for free and then have the tail end, a video link on the album. That way people could go click on it on the website and then watch the movie. It's 5 tracks for each story right now. That's what I'm thinking. So 5 stories, 5 songs, well, 25 tracks. I don't know. Also doing a pop punk cover album. I just finished tracking drums for. Oh boy, now I'm spoiling stuff, but I'm going to anyway. So I have a pop punk cover album. I just finished tracking drums. They're graded their garage band, but I just finished tracking drums for a Newfound Glory cover that I had my friend mostly drum track for me. That way he could make sure that the drums kind of match it. But then I
Mhm.
also told him to make sure it doesn't match it completely because I want it to make sure it doesn't run through a copyright track. So,
Correct.
right now the guitar is being worked on. I'm recording with real bass, which is the very first time ever recording with real bass. My good friend Drew, who lives in the UK, is recording vocals right now, and he's gonna record vocals on, I believe, this pop punk cover album is 15 tracks that I picked out. I think he's doing vocals on 7 of them. So that was pretty cool. So
Like, you got a lot of upcoming projects, especially
it's
in the
mo
music.
yeah, it's mostly gonna be music. I scrapped my recent web series slash finale of my Demon trilogy. Not finishing it. Don't really care to. Not really interested in it. Want to work on stuff that I physically want to put work into. So, unfortunately, that's pretty much gone. But hey, I like doing it when I did, but now I want to focus on stuff that I actually want to put work into and not just putting it out for the sake of it.
Right, right. I agree with that because I've actually started a few projects myself, and I've just canceled them because when I first started it, I was really interested. Then when you get into it a little bit, you're just not. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Some of them, you just lose your interest. Get that.
yeah.
So
It's not that I lost interest. Well, yeah, I guess technically it is, but if it ever gets back to being there, I'll definitely right now. I'm also right. Well, I can't say I'm not fit. I'm working on a script for a feature that is more. It's actually more of a parody film. It's 2 segments. There's going to be the generic Hallmark plot, generic Lifetime plot, and generic just those 2 generic plots separated. It's gonna be I think it'll be about if it comes out, if I ever get it done, by looking at the script length, it's gonna probably be about 2 hours, so the first hour, you're gonna get that generic plot for Hallmark, and then the last hour or so is a generic Lifetime movie plot, and, yeah, it's actually really funny. Um, I'll actually go over I've talked about it in the past, so I don't mind talking about it on here either. So the generic Hallmark plot is like a woman moves into her first apartment and then orders pizza and she falls in love with the pizza guy. Well, anyways, 17 years later, she's got a husband, daughter, and she has a 3-year-old son. So, well, actually, it was a son 3 or 4. I don't remember. But anyways, they're having dinner. There's a knock at the door. She's lived in this house now. She's not in an apartment anymore. She's living in a house, and her career's completely changed. She went from I can't remember if I had her in the script as a she was an art student, and then she got a job as an art teacher or some art related job, and this pizza guy just walked into her life, and she immediately decides to pack up everything and go and wants to live her life with him. And there's actually corny, cheesy dialogue like the husband gets mad and is like, "So, um, you're gonna leave me for a dude that works at Pizza Hut?" And then she just goes, "Actually, it was Papa John's." So she's about to leave, and there's like a money scheme, and then you find out that things aren't as good as it was. Very generic Lifetime Hallmarky, but more Hallmark because it's more of like this generic love story. The Lifetime portion is actually about again, it's another family, but the daughter runs away with a rock band, and you find out band is not really a rock band. They're actually in a cult, and it's a little bit dark, but it's also very generic. Lifetime. There's the generic scenario of, oh my god, the girl's with a guy that obviously lied about who he was, and um,
Right.
mother gets vengeful kind of thing, and or it's just like the generic stories you would see like Hallmark or Lifetime do. Um, And they do a lot of those, especially the Hallmark movies of Christmas, none's original anymore. Actually, I was joking with the people at work. They're talking about one called "It's the Year," and one person asked what was it about. I said, "Well, it's obviously about Christmas."
I mean, wonderful time of the year, yeah.
Yeah,
That
it's
listen, I
definitely.
can't wait to see that because I feel like that's gonna be a good movie. But me, myself, I like Hallmark and I like Lifetime more than Hallmark, but
Yeah, I was watching. There was one I was watching the other day. I think it was the one I recorded on Lifetime. It was called My Sister's Serial Killer Boyfriend, and I'm like, "That's a hodgepodge title, like, what?" And then I saw one called, what was it? I think it was, like, ones that I liked, they're also always obsessed with the letter 17, with the number 17. They got guilty at 17, murdered at 17, arrested at 17, pregnant at 17. I'm just waiting for runaway at 17, but I'm pretty sure that exists somewhere.
yeah, that's
God forbid 17 is like the unlucky number now. It's not 13 anymore.
nah, it's gonna be 13 for this girl.
But it's like, how many of these can you make? And then they're all the same. I saw this one called, what was it? There's so many that, and they all blend together at one point where you think, and then they always use the same actors, which is, I'm not gonna lie, that intrigues me because like it's like I have a feeling all the actors meet on set. They film the movie and they film this hour and 25-minute movie in the span of like 4 or 5 days. And then they still have the actors booked for like another 3 or 4 weeks. So they just make like 10 more on top of it. Like I just have that feeling because you see all the same actors in like different projects at the same time. Like, um, I can't remember. There was always this one actor who was an not an older actor. He might be, well, he's definitely older now, but he used to like do like 6 of them a year, and I'm like, you can tell they're filming this at the same time as the other one
Right.
because
Well,
all
maybe
these.
he's just a very booked and busy man.
Well, I can say there's probably, and I don't know how Lifetime works with residuals. But I don't think those people really get checks anymore because all the older Lifetime movies you see, they don't really show them as often. Now they're showing all the newer generic stuff. I don't think there used to be original at one point, but now they're just the same kind of plot, just different names and faces.
Yeah,
Like,
I have noticed that as well.
and there's always the one.
Oh,
Sorry. There. Okay. Yeah. I was getting a phone call, so I had to quickly end the phone call real quick.
I was gonna say we lost you there for a minute. But yeah,
Yeah.
I've noticed with Lifetime, I would rather watch the ones that are based on true stories.
Yeah, but even
'Cause
then, how true is this story? Some of it
yeah,
seems very far-fetched at the end of the day.
that is very true. So I think that we're probably coming up on near 40 minutes now. Go ahead and let everybody know where they can find you
Uh, you can
and
find
what
me
your
here.
shows.
You can find me here on YouTube. They use the @ now. I don't know, but you can find me. My name is Scott here on YouTube. Right now, my content is kind of live music only. I'm in the middle of rebranding my channel again. Currently, right now, it's like live music and maybe gaming. I'm gonna start playing some video games again very soon. So there's that. You can also find me on Instagram at Jeremy in like 1354. I just post stories on there and pictures when I have good pictures to reveal. That's it. That's where everyone else can find me.
All right. Well, I'll tag your handle in this so that they
Okay.
can find you on YouTube, and I'll put your Instagram down below. And I want to thank you so much for being the first guest to come on
Oh
to
yeah.
Everybody Has a Story to Tell.
Yeah.
I
Thank you
thought
for
that
having me.
it would be a good idea to have you first, considering
Yeah.
I know a good bit about what's going on, considering we talk pretty well every day.
Oh yeah, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much every day. One of the only people that actually does stay in contact with me every well, not the only person. Like I've worked with so many people over the years, and I there's always been those and people's lives come in play, and
Mhm.
it's like and there are people that I glad I keep in contact with, and then there are some that I literally had someone reach out to me last year and was like, "Hey, you need to do this and that." I'm like, "Oh shit, okay." And that's a whole other story for another time. Yeah, that was a crazy time for that one, but yeah, that's basically about all I got. You got any, if you know?
Yep. I mean, to be honest, I'm glad that I read that post about Woods because got a good
Oh
friend
yeah,
out of it,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I
Woods was
like you.
fun. That was a
Yeah,
very fun project. Yeah,
I
I don't
can't wait to
know.
continue on and see what else we can come up with. Maybe one of these
Yeah.
days I'll write something and send to you for you to do.
Oh yeah, maybe.
You just never know.
Yeah. I think the craziest thing about Woods is the fact that, well, one, I'm shocked it got done because I didn't know season two was going to get made at one point, and that's only due to I didn't know. It's like, would people really even be interested in still doing found footage? And then it just so happened, the crazy thing about it was when Sabrina submitted her role for Brittany, um, Brittany was not supposed, and I'm going to reveal this here. Brittany was never meant to get past part one of her installment. Her character was supposed to be killed off, but because Sabrina was very interested in continuing playing the part, I rewrote the script, and we found out we didn't live too far from each other, so from where from where I usually film. So that's why Brittany Part 2 and 3 came out because we were able to actually meet up in person and film the rest of her story. Again, it was rewritten, but it's only because it was like nice to actually work with somebody in person for the very first time for the very first time in oh
Hmm.
my god, almost 2 years at that point. So I was like, I'm glad, and it worked out. And then people were like, "Oh, are you gonna do Wood season 3?" No, and then I wrote a script for season 3, and you're in a cameo season 3. I can't remember if you did a cameo or not. I don't know, something like that. But it
I think
never.
I did.
Okay, so it never got finished, and that's only because I didn't feel like continuing to write it. I was like, I didn't even want to do season 2. Why do I want to do a third season? So I wrote a 6 episode story for season 3. I think I filmed 1 episode or 2. I can't remember.
Right. Well, I can't wait to see what else you come up with. Thank you again for being on here. I want to go ahead and click out.
Okay.
And I want to thank you so much again. I want to thank everybody that's watching. Go follow Jeremy. He's got some pretty great things coming up. And let me tell you something too. The musicians, this band, Fines, their music is great. You want to listen to the music he's got on his YouTube channel with those guys and gals.
You definitely need to go listen to everybody. They're definitely really cool, and I don't know how actually I'll message you. I'll call you on Messenger and ask you about it. So,
Okay. And
uh,
thank you guys. And if you ever have a story to tell, reach out to me because I am going to continue doing this for as long as I can. Thanks, guys, for being here. And I hope you have a great day. Bye now and good night.